afternoon to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. We're happy to welcome all those of you who are listening on radio through WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and now Talk Grenada at 90.1. We also want to welcome all those of you who are on the NDC Facebook page, and we encourage you as usual to share the live. We are live in studio today. So we are going to be having a discussion this afternoon with the Honorable Andy Williams, the man of the moment. And we are going to just take a short break and come right back in a moment. So stick with us.
This government saw it necessary to ensure that education is freely accessible by all willing to access. Indeed, today is truly a tremendous day in the history of higher education in Grenada. This policy is indeed a clear expression of government's recognition of the importance of further education and skills training.
This program is going to ensure that at the end of every academic year, we have 100% tuition paid.
An investment in education is never too expensive. And so the government's free tuition school policy is just one of the many things that the government must address in order to ensure that we give you the opportunity to create the Grenada that you will become proud of. We need businessmen, we need entrepreneurs, we need people who will work in the marine industry, both captains, both repairers. So use this opportunity.
Welcome back to all our listeners and viewers of the NDC Heartbeat podcast. It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada, and we again want to welcome all those of you who are on radio and those who are on the NDC Facebook platform. Well, today we're happy to have in studio the Honorable Andy Williams. He is called the man of the moment, the man who makes it happen in the Ministry of MIT. Well, let me say welcome once again, Minister, to the Heartbeat.
Thank you, Terry.
I don't know where you find the time, but we're happy to have you.
Actually, I was running here to the studio because I was out with in Woburn in my constituency. Mm-hmm. Every second Sunday we have a breakfast.
Indeed.
A nice seafood breakfast.
That's great.
I'm a man who loves my belly. So just part there mixing with the people and just having a good time.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. I had to remind them, I say, hey, I have to be on the Heartbeat program.
Well,
so I had to hurry from them.
Well, it's actually my constituency that I've handed over to you in good, safe hands and good keeping.
And I appreciate it.
That's great. Yeah, well, it's always a pleasure to have you on the Heartbeat. And I know you have been talking a bit recently about your trip to India.
Yeah.
And we want to delve a little bit more into it. First of all, what initiated the trip? How was the trip? What was accomplished? And what are the next steps from that trip to India?
So the trip was basically to facilitate a conference called Conclave. Mm-hmm. That conference you can say it's all about networking.
Right.
You have people from Latin America, the Caribbean, and India, mm-hmm. and seeing how we can collaborate with each other. Because, India is right now have the largest population as we speak. Yep. It's about 1.46 billion people in India. China is like 1.428, mm-hmm. right? But India is 1.46. So, and it was about forging relationship and building relationship, and that's where I got to meet different countries. Mm-hmm. And St. Vincent was there, Antigua was there, Barbados was there also, mm-hmm. right? And Grenada was there. And I got to meet people from different sectors in India. And we were able to talk a lot and to see what interests we have and, what similarities we have and see how we can come together for the better, of everyone. And let me just say that to begin with, India, hats off to India. The customer service in India was just second to none.
Oh, India is good.
Second, they treat you better than they treat themselves. And it's just, I was just surprised by the level of hospitality that I saw in India. And I just wish that our country, not just our country, but the Caribbean, can replicate that. Seeing that we are so big on tourism, if we can do half of that, I could tell you, Terry, we would be in the right place. And so on the trip to India, people were saying, Andy, let's go out and see some sightseeing and everything.
Yeah.
And I was saying, no, I have to stay. I want to see who I can network it with so that I can bring benefit to our country.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let me just tell the Prime Minister he owes me a trip to India because I got no chance to see India. I was stuck in meetings for the whole day, seeing what we can really, get for Grenada.
Right.
And I was able to negotiate and by a gentleman's agreement that India will help us with approximately $1 million in equipment.
Just basic equipment.
Yes.
Okay.
What our responsibility is to get the building and also to the building and the land. Once we get that, India will provide the equipment for whatever factories we want to.
And that is based on our needs, our requirements,
Based on our needs.
requests.
Based on our requests. And, I've been in touch with the Ministry of Agriculture because MIT had the chance to be in touch with every ministry.
Right.
And I could tell you that one of the things we want to do as a government is to start having some factories in Grenada. That is why the Prime Minister is so adamant on renewable energy.
Yep.
Because if you're talking about manufacturing, your biggest cost is energy costs.
Yep.
And if we can get to bring down that cost, it can reduce our manufacturing costs tremendously.
Right.
And look, today, Terry, it is so hot outside.
It is indeed.
What are we doing with that energy?
Yep.
We're supposed to be storing that energy and using that energy in a form of electricity.
Right.
So, and I engaged the Prime Minister, and we spoke about what some of the things that we will be interested in terms of factories.
Right.
One of it, the Prime Minister spoke about teas, and Grenada have so much hubs.
It's a big industry.
Big industry.
Yep.
We have so much hubs and so. And we can use those hubs to make teas. And we have people here who are already making teas.
In the business, yeah.
So what we can do is to do a PPP, which you have a private-public partnership,
Right.
where we can provide the infrastructure and partner with the private sector to be the one driving the whole process.
Well, that is absolutely brilliant because the private sector is the one that really the engine of growth.
That's it.
As government give the direction, policy, support, etc.
That's it.
Let them run with it.
Let them run with it.
No, that is beautiful. That is fantastic.
And also, let me.
And I would just want to support your request to the Prime Minister for another trip to India. See India. But when you go there next time, you still have to come back.
Right. And we also look at coconuts because the Ministry of Agriculture, they are procuring 5,000 coconut plants. And we even have plans to import some more. Because what we can do is to do a factory where we can do our own coconut oil.
Right.
And the coconut oil is a healthy oil.
Oh, yeah.
And not just oil, but we can do things like coconut milk.
Oh, yeah. There are a lot of secondary products from
Yes.
coconut.
Even the feed, you can get feed for animals from the coconut after you extracted the oil and the milk from it.
Right.
Right. And it can be used in agriculture.
So would you be looking at short-term, medium, and long-term plans with respect to factory establishments?
Right.
Because produce, is necessary to run a factory.
So basically, we have a project in the Ministry of Agriculture now where we got a grant from the World Bank of $10 million and we are about ready to start procuring equipment and all sorts of items. And we are going to affect the poultry industry, all sectors. When I say all sectors, I mean all the various parts in agriculture.
Right.
And it's going to be geared towards increase the production of crops, where we're going to look at even the poultry and the animals, the cows, the goats, and everything.
Yeah.
So if we were to ramp up production, then we can look at using those additional crops that we have to do things. And yes, what you said, short term, long term, because there are some crops that we can grow quite easily in a short space of time.
Right.
There are some crops like the coconut that will take longer. But what we can do to start off, we can even import some of the coconuts and get it starting while we grow our own coconuts. And we can make the transition easily from the importing of the coconuts to using our own.
Right.
But Terry, let me just say this, because we have to start thinking different. We have to start using our raw materials and adding value to it.
Right.
Producing the finished product, so that we can really see the benefit of the process.
Yeah.
Instead of we having to supply someone, they add value and they sell it even back to us. We have to stop that.
Has happened
There are some parts
over the years.
and there are some parts in Africa that are saying, hey, we are not going to export our raw materials.
I am watching very closely the development in Africa.
Yes.
It's rather interesting.
Yes, so we have to open up our eyes. I mean, just imagine this. I go to hotels sometimes for breakfast, and I'm getting canned juice, canned pineapple juice, canned orange juice. We are in Grenada. We are in the tropics.
Yep.
Our mangoes are spoiling on the ground. Why are we going to a hotel, and getting the canned juice?
Yep.
When our tourists come to Grenada, they should be tasting our lovely golden apple juice, the passion fruit juice,
Fresh.
the sauce juice, fresh juices. It is more healthy and it's a better experience.
Absolutely.
So this is what we want to promote in Grenada. A Grenada where you can eat local, where you can, produce local and just help build our economy. Because once you start importing so much of this canned stuff, you are helping build someone else's economy. The money is going out. We should be trying to let the money stay in Grenada to build Grenada. And this is what we should be aiming towards.
But these proposed factories, its initial setup and operation, of course, we all recognize the high cost of electricity.
Yeah.
Would India be willing to provide solar energy capacity to run these factories,
Well,
to reduce that cost?
the answer is no, but we have a plan. The Prime Minister have a plan. And part of the plan, well, let me just tell you that we are working so that Kairoku can supply, so that 60% of Kairoku energy will be renewable.
Renewable energy.
And also we are working on a plan for Grenada also. We spoke about geothermal, but it's a more long-term plan, let's say a 10-year plan.
Right.
But we have things like the solar we can invest in more, even wind.
Yeah.
We can invest in more too. And we are looking at that. So I will say in the next 2 years' time, you should see some more renewables on the island so we can produce our own energy at a cheaper cost and a cheaper rate. And of course, Grenlec will have to, we'll have to work at the agreement with Grenlec. Because, and again, Terry and Grenada, when we import fuel, we are importing inflation. Sometimes once fuel costs go up, your bill will go up.
You have no choice.
Exactly. But if we can use the renewables, we can have a more stable cost and it will be much cheaper.
Yeah.
That is the way we have to go. That is what is called transformation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So indeed, I recall several months ago, I conducted an interview with a gentleman out of Belize or one of these countries, but he represents an international organization, not for profit, essentially guiding governments in the region with respect to renewables and which are best, where the pitfalls are, and that sort of thing. I must try to pull up on it and share it with you.
That'd be lovely.
Because it was a very, very interesting conversation which I held with him. And he had been to Grenada before, met with the previous government, and talk about introducing into Grenlec an aspect of renewable energy and start phasing out the supply of diesel to produce our energy. But It didn't seem to have gone very far.
Oh, okay.
But I'll try to pull it up. Blondell, you remember that interview with that guy? Yeah, I'm just talking to my IT personnel at the back here.
And that'd be nice because you see diesel, when you look at the environment, it's not too friendly to the environment. But renewable is very friendly. So if you're talking about the environment also, then it's always important. It's always good to look at renewable. And I'm saying this is where we have our advantage.
Yeah.
And we have to use it.
We have all aspects of renewable energy.
That's
Wave energy,
Yes.
wind energy, solar energy, geothermal, you
Everything.
name it. They're all there.
And and I must give our Prime Minister credit because he is very, like I say, he's very strong on renewables.
Yeah.
We will be in cabinet and he will be talking about renewables and how we can use it to move forward.
Absolutely.
He sent me a WhatsApp while I was in Canada and said, hey, we need some funds for this. And once he says that, I will see how I can do my best,
Absolutely.
But he's very strong in that. And that is where Grenadians can really see the benefit, going forward, because renewable energy will have an effect on the everyday man
Absolutely.
cost and his bill, right? But also, let me just say this, Terry, the Prime Minister is leading the way in the talks on having electrical vehicles or electric vehicles, right? And I know he had a meeting with the Busmen Association, and he had a meeting with a firm too, where we spoke about changing the diesel engines to the electric engines,
Right.
so that it will be less maintenance, it could be less pollution, and this is the way we have to go. This is where the world is going, and we have to really follow that. And all in all, it will be better for the country.
Yep.
So I have to give our Prime Minister, the Honourable Dickon Mitchell, all praise, because that is his thinking and he's pushing that.
Absolutely.
And as a cabinet, we are supporting him 100%.
Wonderful. That is fantastic.
Yes.
But of course, that he presented this during the campaign
Yes.
as part of his strategy in the transformation process.
Yes.
So I'm happy to see that it is really taking on the energy that he spoke about, and it's another deliverable.
Yes, and give the man credit. He says pension. When the other side said that listen, let's just reflect for a minute, right? Let's reflect, because sometimes we just fly over these things as nothing.
Indeed.
The other side said that if we paid pension,
We will crash.
we will crash. This part of the economy will suffer, poor people can't get this and all sorts of things. 500 million, 400 million. We pay the pension and what happened?
Yep.
Grenada is running fine still.
And not only that, a lot of people are happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you see, and sometimes I hear the other side make mention about the pension and all sorts of things. And I'm saying, but listen, these monies went back into the ordinary Grenadian's hand.
Yep.
It did not go away. We did not put the money into foreign hands. It's Grenadians.
Absolutely.
And they said that probably the people didn't spend the money. Okay, it's okay. They are not spending the money. No, they did not spend it. No, but it's their money, and
But the thing is, a lot of mortgages, loans were paid off.
That's it.
So the mental stress on the minds of a lot of people were just evaporated overnight.
Yes.
And that is extremely important for wellness of your society.
Yes.
That they have good mental faculty. So them receiving the money, they may not have probably purchased brand new items,
Right.
but who probably did extensions on the home, repairs.
That's it.
That is construction material and employment.
Yes.
And they take away their loan from the bank, they wipe that off, so that is more money into the bank, so the banks can now lend other individuals. So it's revolving.
That's it.
It's revolving, and people are happy.
And I want to just speak to Grenadians and tell them to stay focused, because sorry, we hear these things, but we pay it no mind, because we think if we were to stand up and pelt a stone at every barking dog, we will not meet our destination. If you go to spend your energy on negative things, you will be missing out on the amount of positive things that you can do.
Yes.
So, and I must give our Prime Minister again credit, because he's someone that is very sound, very stable. He is not easily moved, and he's very focused. And he gave us that that encouragement to do the same
Right.
as the leader. But sometimes you hear things. For example, just someone was telling me, Andy, I'm hearing that the $7.5 million that was approved for the Independence celebration. You know, it was said that 2.5 will be for the $50 notes.
Yeah.
But let me just say this: $2.5 million is for the $50 notes, but those notes will be sold, and we will get revenue from those notes.
Exactly.
But I'm hearing now the other side saying that the MPs will be getting the $5 million to spend between them, and all sorts of foolishness. And I'm saying you have one party who is bent on improving the lives of Grenadians. You have another party who just sit down, trying to spread propaganda and rumors. And I want our people to be focused. And let me say this: they're saying that the other party is all about the poor and vulnerable. If you care so much about the poor and vulnerable, why are you ensuring that they remain poor and vulnerable?
Very important.
You should be trying to lift them up from being poor and vulnerable to take them from the poor class to the middle class. But you see, a system of handouts was developed, and where you give a man $100 or $150, and he will be loyal to you. What we are doing, Terry, and I don't want to go ahead of myself, but for example, the free tuition that we just did for TAMCC students and new.
That's major.
The best way to get out of poverty is through education. Let's look at the opposition leader who said that his father was a farmer or whatever it is, and he was from poor parentage. But he had a good education, and he was able to lift himself from poverty.
Yep.
So why not give Grenadians the same opportunities?
Yep.
And if you pass the age, let's say, most times you go to TAMCC after you finish secondary school. But if you're in your 20s and you did not get a chance to go back to TAMCC, we are saying here that once you apply to TAMCC and you get accepted, we will be waiving the tuition fee for you. So it gives you a second chance
Absolutely.
to build yourself, and so that you can be able to better your education, get a better job, get more income, and move yourself out of poverty. But when we do this, we are helping you to be more independent.
Absolutely.
And in that way, some people may say it may not be a good political move, because if you have the people depending on you, you can control their vote. But we did not get elected to control your vote. We got elected so that we can better, you as a citizen, because as the late Moy Bishop said, a government is supposed to be of the people, for the people, and by the people.
Yep.
Not about votes, but you should be doing things to help your citizens grow and advance.
Yeah.
And that is what the NDC is about.
Absolutely.
So I want us to stay focused.
Well, I also want to raise the issue there of the Prime Minister's promise to have at least one student from every household attend university.
Yeah.
And that will change the entire household.
Yeah.
And that seems to be on path,
Yes.
on course.
Yes.
Because I'm really excited about, for example, you mentioned the TAMCC annual free tuition.
Yeah.
TAMCC tuition is $810 per semester.
Yeah.
Could you imagine a family have 2 kids going to TAMCC, the relief that they will have?
Exactly.
I mean, they can use this money, put it into other areas of development and so forth for the family.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a major, major, major accomplishment.
Yes,
And
yes.
congratulations to Prime Minister Mitchell and his cabinet for
yes.
taking such a bold decision. A decision that was never even considered in the past.
Exactly.
So that speaks to real, tangible efforts
Right.
towards lifting education.
And let me just say
standards.
this, that this year we had the most amount of students registering for TAMCC and getting through with TAMCC. So it goes to show you the direction which we are going.
Yeah.
And Terry, that's what I'm saying, that some people can talk the talk, but there are few who really walk the walk.
Absolutely.
And we are, we said we will do this during the campaign, and we did it. And this is just, as Orlando said, is a journey to free education.
Yep.
Last year we took out the school fee, the cost, and so there's different costs and so for secondary school and primary school. This year we have removed the tuition fee for TAMCC.
Yep.
Guess what will happen next year?
Well, the last time the Minister of Education was on Heartbeat, he made the exact point you just raised, that this is just the journey to total free education
That's it.
for all students in Grenada. And
That's it.
that would be tremendous indeed. Absolutely tremendous.
Because, and I mean, as a young man, I mean, I was born in 1980, but I heard about the look at one press secretary is laughing at me. She's probably saying I'm kind of old, right? But anyway, I heard about prime ministers who schooled in Grenada.
Oh yes.
In the region.
Well, Grenada was the main hub for education.
See?
Dominicans, St.
How about
Lucians,
that?
Antiguans. Grenada was the place to come to obtain your education.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have to get back there. I know the last about 23 years or so was not really productive in terms of education, but we have to get back there.
Yeah.
And as a young government, we understand the need for education. As in the revolution, it was said that education is a right, not a privilege, and this is what we believe in. So we are going to do our best to ensure that our literacy rate increase, Grenadians have more opportunities, and also, let me take this moment to tell the public, do not underestimate SGU and do not underestimate UE. Our Prime Minister went to TAMCC and he went to UE. He did not go to any foreign university to make it. And he was one of the best lawyers. He had the major clients in Grenada,
Yep,
Carriacou
quite true.
and Peter Martinique, and he was one of the most successful in his field.
Absolutely.
And if a Grenadian get accepted to UE, he gets 80% economic costs off.
Well,
Yeah.
explain what it means to the grassroots man about economic cost.
Right.
That is the government paying the cost of the student.
Yes. So if the total cost of let's say you go to UA in Barbados, and your total cost of the tuition and everything is $100,000, the government is going to pay $80,000 for you. And that's what it is.
This is major.
Exactly. Because sometimes I know of a parent in my constituency who sent their child to a university in the US setting, and the cost is a lot on them.
One semester is over 20,000 US.
That's it. And I said to them, do you know that you could have gotten economic costs through UE, which maybe what it would have taken you for, let's say, for example, one semester abroad, that could have really sufficed for the whole term or the whole 4 years at UE. Also, SU, when you apply to SU, you automatically get a scholarship from the government. And also, there are cases where you can even get further scholarship, right? So we, as MIT also, we will be making the rounds to all secondary schools, educating them on opportunities, and parents also, because sometimes we think that these things are hidden, and parents do not know these things. And if they know, you can who will benefit is themselves, their children, and Grenada as a whole will benefit. So it is something that we think that we have to push more in the rural areas, the urban areas, because we have opportunities there for our young people, and they should take advantage of it.
Absolutely, so indeed. Well, I know the GIS has specific time slots on radio stations. We need to utilize that time to let people know what are the benefits and what this government is actually doing to help, Grenadians and so forth, to help students and to help develop the country.
I agree, 100%.
I want to come back briefly on the $50 note because still there are some persons who are confused about it. And I had explained before on GBN that the $50 note becomes any other regular $50 note that you can physically spend.
Yeah.
The opposition was trying to push a line that, no, this is a commemorative note, and therefore you could only put it in a glass case and have it there as a memorabilia. Well, this is so false. Prime Minister had made it absolutely clear in the Parliament that this note will be in circulation throughout the member states. And you can spend it like any other $50 note. Am I right or am I wrong?
You are correct. And let me just say it here, Terry. Listen, I speak plain. Prime Minister, sorry if I go overboard, but I just want to say shame on the opposition. Because all they are doing is just trying to misguide the Grenadian people to bring our progress down. And listen, when we are not really focused on them, Terry, and it's just sad. I mean, I see right through them. I've seen already in Parliament. We went to Parliament, and when we spoke about the $80 million through the UK SIF that we lost because it was on the book 6 years and the previous administration did nothing. And he went to his supporters to tell them that we lost the money.
Yeah.
Right? And I was
It's
just
amazing.
there. Listen, and let me tell you why I take offense. Because let's take the politics out of it. I am a Grenadian. And I love my Grenadian people. I got involved in politics for the people. So when I hear someone just coming and just trying to mislead the people like that, it bothers me because it means that you are taking your people for a fool. And you know the truth and you are trying to mislead them because you want them to hate the NDC and to hate the government. And I'm saying, Grenadian people, you have to wise up. You have to look beyond these things. You have a set of young people who are there. And what we are trying to do is trying to move our country. We are talking about a new hospital. We are talking about building training centers throughout Grenada, Carriacou, and PD Martinique. We are talking about doing 500 houses. We are talking about doing industries and factories. Right? We are talking about free education. We are talking about pension. We are talking about empowering our people, providing jobs. This is what we are doing.
Absolutely.
So how can you fight this? This is progress we are talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
And Terry, I'm saying that the previous administration got a chance for 20 years or how much years to do what they had to do. We have just been in office a year and months, and we have done so much, and we will continue to do more for our people.
But this is what is so significant. Just over a year, and so many things have been accomplished. But we're going to take a short break and come back to you.
Right.
Back in a moment.
This government saw it necessary to ensure that education is freely accessible by all willing to access.
Indeed, today is truly a tremendous day in the history of higher education in Grenada. This policy is indeed a clear expression of government's recognition of the importance of further education and skills training.
This program is going to ensure that at the end of every academic year, we have 100% tuition paid.
An investment in education is never too expensive.
And so the government's free tuition school policy is just one of the many things that the government must address in order to ensure that we give you the opportunity to create the Grenada that you will become proud of. We need businessmen, we need entrepreneurs, we need people who will work in the marine industry, both captains, both repairers. So use this opportunity.
Welcome back to all our listeners and viewers, those who are listening on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, and now Talk Grenada at 90.1, and those who are on the NDC Facebook page. We welcome you back to the Heartbeat. It's another beautiful Sunday afternoon in Grenada, albeit a little bit warm, but there's a nice breeze coming out from the east. And we have with us the Honorable Andy Williams, Minister responsible for MIT. And we started off talking about his trips abroad and all the various accomplishments, etc. So let us get back to India. By the way, I hear you're wearing a nice Indian suit. I haven't seen you in that suit yet.
Yeah, well, actually, listen, I went to a store to see what suits that they had, the jackets and so on. And I saw this nice, lovely suit. And when I put it on, I said, you know what, this fits me nice. And
wow.
I got to understand that the Indian Prime Minister, Modi, that's what he wears. So actually, last Friday, our Prime Minister was teasing me about it. Telling me that, I need the G20 summit is on, and it's India, and, and Modi also. But it's a nice suit. I mean, it's you're more comfortable and more relaxed.
It's one full long
Yes,
piece.
one full long piece, and your arms are free.
So all you need now is just a headpiece.
Just a headpiece, and I'm good to go. But let me say this, I've been very close to Indians all my life.
Mm-hmm.
My neighbor is Indian from India. Miss Patel, she makes the loveliest roti skin in Grenada,
I know.
Diplomatic, and the Caribbean.
Wow.
And we speak Gujarati sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm on the program now, I'll say Kemche,
Kimchi.
and you ought to say Majama.
All right.
And
okay.
we can speak
Well,
some.
You'll have to learn some Indian language.
Right, and I will say Maunamche Andy Williams.
Uh-huh.
That means my name is Andy Williams
Great.
in Gujarati.
Fantastic.
And Tunamche, that means it's Terry,
Uh-huh.
Terry Forrester.
Wonderful.
So it's just some Indian in me.
Well, you got the Indian in you. I have some
Yeah.
Indian in me too, so I need to pull it out. But tell me, while you were in India,
Yeah.
besides the commitment you have had from the Indian government to provide just over $1 million for
Yes.
equipment and so
Right.
forth, what is the process? When would this come into play, and how soon can we see realization?
Good question. So we have an Indian delegation coming to Grenada on the 26th of September, and that is where they will be coming to look at the building and the land and so, and then we will put the concept into play as to what factories we want to have in Grenada, and we will get the project documents, put it together. In a matter of 5 months, we can look at getting the approval from India, and that's when we can start procuring the equipment.
Right.
So Terry, my prime minister, and I spoke, and he said, Andy, let's make 2025 the year of innovation. So we are looking at 2025 to have things in
Right.
place and set up, so we can start pushing and start having our products out. No, I want to jump the gun. Can I jump the gun?
I don't know. I don't know if your prime minister would
No.
like for you to
Well,
jump any gun.
No, when I say the gun, I'm talking about the Canada trip.
Oh yes. Well, once you're through with India, then
Yeah.
we can switch over to Canada.
Right.
Yes.
No, besides the actual trip, Canada, which I met with Grenadians in Canada.
As the Grenada Day celebration.
Yes.
Right.
And we had on the Sunday we met, and as Grenadians, the celebration was a Saturday. Let me just say that a lovely celebration. You have people like Inspector, artists like Inspector was there, Letnek
Right.
was there, and these guys did a wonderful job. You have even Canadian artists in Toronto who performed and did a wonderful job also. It was peaceful, it was lovely. You have I got some nice curry crab. I mean, first that crab was sweet. I messed up my clothes with crab, And
The good thing wasn't the Indian suit you myself.
and it was nice, and Grenadian. I mean, what is so special about us is that the no violence part. Very peaceful, not even ounce of violence in it. And it was a wonderful event. And let me just say hats off to Canada, to the diaspora, for really putting together a lovely event of class.
Right.
And it had a lot of people. Although on that same day you had Jamaican Day and someone else and Trinidad had a day too. And if it wasn't for their celebration, you would have had more people there.
Right.
But the celebration held its own, and it was wonderful. But on a Sunday we got to speak, and the gentleman Greens, who used to run Greens Auto in Grenada, right, he was there, and we happened to see a gentleman was passing by, and he greeted us, and we spoke about shipping our products from Grenada to Canada.
Yep.
And this is what we want, because you have a lot of. Let me just explain. You have twice, for every 2 Grenadians you have living outside, 1 is living in Grenada. So the population of Grenadians outside of Grenada is more than the population of Grenadians in Grenada.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. So there is an opportunity for us to move our products to places like Toronto, New York, London. We have a large Grenadian population, and we have to start taking or making use of that opportunity.
Well,
So, because if you have things like, there was a Jamaican store in Toronto who was set up just a block from a Grenadian restaurant, and she said, when they set up that store, you had ministers from Jamaica coming up.
Oh, yes.
So you could see the importance
interest.
and the interest that they put in this.
Yep.
Mind you, in order the restrictions for Canada that they put to import from Jamaica is much more than the restrictions to import from Grenada.
Oh, yeah.
Therefore, it is easier for us to export to Canada.
Absolutely.
So we need to make use of that. We need to make use of start getting shipping lines that will go directly to Canada so that we can send our produce to Canada, but also and New York and London. But we need to not just the raw materials, but start sending our finished products to these places.
That's the next step.
That's the next step,
Yeah.
right? So that was just the part with the Grenadians, and it's always nice to see Grenadians. And listen, we have Grenadians doing well in Canada, in New York, in London. We have Grenadians doing well, and I want to say hats off to them, because sometimes we leave and we tend not to make use of the opportunity. But I can tell you, have Grenadians doing well across it, and I was really happy to see that. Now, my PS and I was part of the Jeff conference, and that's where Grenada was allocated $8 million of Jeff funding, and it has to do with the environment and so things that will affect the environment, projects that will affect the environment while benefiting Grenada. We were also awarded an extra $3 million, so you can see $11 million in total. Yeah. And also, let me just say that of the $8 million, every $3 million you spend, you can use just that allocation to get $1 extra million.
Oh. So
11, let's say 369, so you can talk about $14 million that we got from the Jeff that we can start doing projects that will affect Grenada.
So for the public to better understand, when you are being given funding, grant funding by any funding agency, the more you effectively use up this grant funding qualifies you for even more.
Yes.
The less you use it, then you lose it.
Yes.
And this is what happened with the UK SIF funding.
Yes.
You don't use it, you lose it.
You lose it.
You use it, you get more.
Yes.
It's a simple philosophy of life.
Yes.
And that is important to know.
And with the UK SIF, let me just say that the Prime Minister, he really was instrumental in getting back the 70 million for Grenada.
Yep.
And the President of the UK SIF signed the actual agreement last week. So the funding, it's concrete. It's not word of mouth again, but it's actually in black and white. And the Prime Minister is always up to something, let me just say. He likes to surprise Grenada. And he's working on doing something for the 50th anniversary so that we can, because part of the UK SIF project, let me just, for the listeners who are just joining, it is to assist with, it's a southern water project that will assist with the water lines. You see, what happened is that before, you had the line that was there was made for a certain number of people. But in the south especially, the population increased a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Now, NASA will want to increase the pressure, the water pressure in the lines. But the lines may not be able to take the pressure because of the age of the lines. Now, if we can change those lines and put newer lines, NASA can increase their water pressure. And more places now in the south where cannot get water will get water.
Like on the hillsides and so forth.
Exactly, because now the pressure will be more. And that is what makes this project so beneficial. So it means that we will have to do some work from the Granans main road. You have to dig up the roads. You have to change the pipes. You have to do all over by the lines in the back of Fox Inn to the airport. But when you do that, then Prime Minister, sorry if I jumped the gun, but his plan is to do all these lines. And then we do the road. And in that case, NASA have no reason to go back and dig up the roads again.
Right.
So that is why sometimes you will see us do some patches on the road, because we have a plan to redo the road from Port Highway to the airport. That's just in Granans. That's just to start with. And so that is the whole thing. But places in the south especially can get more water. We have the GQ's project, which is also aimed at bettering or improving the facility of our dams and so. And that project is for the whole of Grenada. So you find we are working in two sections: the UK SAFE, which is the actual lines to your homes, and the JCUS project, which actually assists with the dams.
Okay.
Definitely. So what you will have is that you will have a system where both the dams and the lines will be taken care of at the same time. In addition to that, I can tell you that as we talk about roads, the Cliff Road,
Yeah.
that road, a design was done, but it was the same road that was being put back.
Oh, so
But-
just resurfacing the old road.
That's it. But if you're doing a project, no, you have to be looking down the line, next 20, 30, 40 years. And our Prime Minister thought, hey, this road is not transformative. So there's need to widen the road, because you have big trucks passing there.
Right.
So then when the trucks pass with the vehicles, you have to stop and all these things. So his idea was to make the road wider and to do a new design for that road.
Right.
So some people may find, hey, it's taking a little longer. But listen, it is better we take 6 months extra and give you a proper road that will serve us for the next 20, 30 years
Yep.
than to do a VUVAP.
Yep.
And tomorrow you have to talk about widening the road again.
Yep.
So, and again, as we're on infrastructure, let's talk about Molyneux.
I was about to raise that, so you go right ahead.
Right. Now, with the Molyneux, we had a pipe, and there was a main pipe it burst and so on a weekend. And what happened is that the water splashed up on the hillside, and you had debris coming down.
Wow.
Now, if we follow the original design that was done by the previous government, you'll find that you will have a nice road, but debris will be falling down. Oh, sorry, not debris, sorry, debris will be falling down in the road. What we did, and it was led by the Prime Minister, and he invited different engineers in the room, like Carlisle Clean and so.
Right.
And everyone had the input on the new design. The new design, it took into consideration the hillside. I could tell you that the CTO was explaining to me that they're going to get some mats or so, what you call it, geothermal mats,
Okay.
that they will put on the hillside to prevent the debris from
Right.
coming
So
down.
they encase it.
They encase
Or-
it, right? And then you're going to put more piles into the ground. What you mean by piles?
Yeah.
Piles is a long
drive.
right.
Yeah.
The drive, you drive it down to the hard surface on the ground,
Right.
and which will come up, and the road will be built on the piles.
Okay.
So
So,
it's-
all right.
Right.
Talking from an engineering perspective,
Right.
you pile drive.
That's it.
So you use actually posts.
Posts.
And then you build the road above these pile drive posts.
Exactly. And what will happen? We have it that even though you have cases where you have landslides, it will go under the road
That's
and
right.
not go on the road.
Yep.
And that is the new design we will be doing for Molyneux. Someone sent me on Facebook a design where they go out into the sea. It's the same principle, because it's the same piles you put in the ground to go in the sea.
Like building a pier.
That's it.
Pile drive and then you put the pier over it.
That's it.
Yeah.
So that is why the Molyneux we had to stop, redesign the whole project, and we have cleared most of the piles already. We have some more to clear. As soon as we clear all the piles,
Right.
work will continue on the Molyneux. But then you will know that you have a road again that can stand the test of times. Not just to do a VUVAP, and tomorrow you're seeing all kind of problems with the road. So that is how we do things. That is our aim. Let's talk about the bridge at the Simone Paradise.
Oh, yes.
That bridge, we wanted to do a bridge where you can have 2 vehicles on the bridge at the same time. But because of the importance of the bridge and the inconvenience it was causing, we went ahead and do it quickly, which we just resurfaced the bridge. But I can tell you that we are looking at doing designs that we can have 2 vehicles can be on the bridge, can pass on the bridge at the same time.
Right.
Even the Paradise Bridge, the same thing. And when we talk about transformation and infrastructure transformation, that is what we're referring to. So we cannot do everything in a day.
No,
It takes time.
naturally.
But I can tell you, when we do something, Terry, we have, the long-term effects in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Just clarify for the listeners, the Paradise Bridge, sorry, not the Paradise Bridge, the Simone Wooden Bridge.
Yeah.
When was it impossible to pass over it? Was it when you got into office, or did you not meet it that way?
To be honest with you,
Well, the bridge, well, let me help you there.
yeah,
That bridge no traffic was going over that bridge for a long time.
right.
Long before NDC got into office.
Okay.
You came and fixed it.
We came and fixed it, yeah.
A certain MP on the other side was stating to the public and insisting that the government should now compensate businesses in that area for the fact that the bridge vehicles weren't able to pass over the bridge.
No.
So I said to her, I said, Madam, I think you need to check your memory.
Right.
And if any compensation has to be given to anyone, then your former administration should have taken the initiative so to do.
Right. So,
Thankfully, you have fixed the bridge now, your government.
but these people have selective memory.
Yeah.
And again, it's not about, being fair or being, it's just about trying to see how they can make us look bad. And again, Terry, our intentions are pure. Now, let's talk about, if you want to talk about the bridge, let's talk about Simon Cultural Center. I mean, when we came into office and we saw the cost of that cultural center, it was not even a cultural center. It was a stage and a pavilion. I mean, a modern cultural center should have facilities that will, enable the creative industries. I mean, just name it, right? But you just had a stage and a pavilion, and when you look at the amount of money, I mean, it's just amazing that these people's eyes are only opening now that we are in office. So maybe we should always be in office, let the eyes keep
Opening.
Exactly, And we had to come and we do the culture center. When Khaled Green came to cabinet and presented the culture center, we was like, no. Prime Minister was like, no. He could not go ahead with that. And I will not even have go through the transaction that took place before anything happened on the cultural center. And that is where the eyes should open and not turn a blind eye to it. But they have selective memory. When certain things are happening that is not right, they close their eyes to it, and they are trying to block progress. But listen, I will tell them, they cannot stop progress, and they cannot stop 6 runs. So they can do what they want. We will go ahead with a proper cultural center for the people of Simon. And this is where our idea is. So when they throw all these things, Terry, we tend to just forget them. Because, listen, we are not going to battle with a sinking horse or with a dying horse. We will let it die on its own, and we will continue soaring to higher heights.
Indeed, like an eagle.
Listen, I heard a story, you took it from my head, that a bird, I can't remember the name of the bird, attacked an eagle, and it went on the eagle's back. And the eagles couldn't really do anything to get it off.
Was a pee-pee.
So what the eagle did, the eagle keep on soaring higher and higher.
Indeed.
And the bird could not survive. So definitely, the eagle won the battle by soaring higher,
Yeah.
not by going lower.
Exactly.
And that is where we have to turn our efforts. So, and I want to tell our people, do not spread the propaganda. Do not even think about taking on what they are saying. Let's just continue to be positive. Let's continue to be focused. Because I asked the Prime Minister once, I said, Prime Minister, aren't you going to fight, the opposition on all these things that we are seeing, He said to me, Andy, if we spend our time on fighting these guys, when the next 4 years reach, what will we tell the Grenadian people? And I know when in the next 3 years, our Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell want to go to the public, to the people and say, we have done this, we have done that. This is where we want to go even further. And to him, that is him accomplishing his dream. Not to fight what these guys have been doing for years. Because if we do that, we will be no different to them. And we preach a message of transformation, and we are in the process of doing that.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. So let's go back to Canada a little bit. We've been all over the place.
Right.
So your final thoughts on your Canadian trip?
Right. It was a success, and already we have submitted some projects to Canada. One of it has to do with the relic boats in the water, and all, if you go to Woburn and Trubulon, so you'll see the water being contaminated. And we have a project that we submitted that will deal with that. Because it's not about just cleaning the land, but it's about taking care of our ocean also. So a gentleman by the name of Jerry UNO. He did a proposal for us,
All right.
and we are looking at it through the Jeff program. So it is very, I mean, I would say it is successful, and it's grant money. What we have seen before, we have seen Grenada received grant funding and did nothing with it. We do not intend as a government to let that attitude continue.
Right.
And we will be using up our grant funding now and in the future to make sure that every Grenadian benefit and to make sure that our country benefit.
Yep.
Right? So the Canadian trip was a success. And I mean, I was able to meet and to network with a lot of people. I met the Canada minister, of the equivalent to trade in Canada. I also met some colleagues from Dominica and Barbados. And let me just say that it was amazing. When I was meeting a colleague from Dominica, he was telling one of his colleagues how intelligent our Prime Minister was, and I was just laughing. So I mean, it's always good to represent my country, and when I go, I always try to see what I can bring back for Grenada. Not about me going to have a good time. That's the last thing on my agenda. It's about going to see what we can do to benefit our country, how we can interact. And Terry, let me just say this. 90% of my ideas does not come from me.
Yep.
I listen to people, I talk to people, and when they share their ideas, I sit down and put it together and see how we can use it for the benefit of our country.
That's how it is.
For example, you spoke about the aloes.
Yep.
I know this is something that is strong on your heart.
Oh, yeah.
And that is something that MIT, we want to do.
Cassava also, too.
Cassava too.
It has lots of secondary products.
Yes, I think I'm Kimo trying to get your attention to say, let's take a break.
Okay, well, he needs to have a break. So we'll take a short break and we get right back to you in a moment. Welcome back to the Heartbeat. I needed to give Minister Williams a water break because he has been just going.
Right.
I saw that his lips were getting dry. So we almost to the end of the program, so please share with us your closing thoughts.
So I just want to say that, it's the last year and some months, I've been really trying to do my best to see how we can bring transformation to our country. And just yesterday I was in the Cameron Park area, seeing how we can, do up something that we could change the signs and we could do a little covering and, some stuff. And have some upgrades. And have a nice time seeing Cameron Park. Right. But all in all, Terry, let me just thank my constituency and my constituents for their support. And in the upcoming months, my plan is to really focus on them. I've been focusing a lot on government.
Right.
But if it was not for my constituents, I would not have been in this position. So in the upcoming week, starting from this week, I will be on the ground visiting and just passing through areas. This week, I will be passing through the Belmont area. I'll be having a meeting with the community of Belmont at the Pandy area.
Right.
I think there are some things that we can do to improve our community. And I will be focusing on Belmont and Pandy this week. Next week, I'll be focusing on the Coffee Bowl Hill, on the Gulf Coast area.
Right.
And every week I'll be focusing on an area where I can go out and meet the people, not just, them coming to me on a Thursday. My office is open on a Thursday. And the office is located, by, the road by Food Fair going up to Montu.
Let me just cut you 1 second because
Time
has caught up on us, but
should I rush it?
No. Let me just say to those who are listening on radio, WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital, Talk Grenada, is that please feel free to continue listening on the NDC Facebook platform.
Lovely.
So I want to thank those on radio who have been listening to the Heartbeat today, and we will continue this conversation for another few minutes, but on Facebook.
Lovely.
So thank all the radio listeners. So let us continue.
Yes. So every week I'll be taking a different area and trying to really, build a closer bond to the constituents, because sometimes not everyone will come to the office. As I was saying, the office is located on the road going up to Montu by Food Fair.
Right.
It's behind the laundry on the
yeah.
left side of the road.
Mm-hmm.
So every Thursday, I'm there every Thursday, and I'm be there, making myself available to the people.
Right.
But also, I feel the need to go out in the community to meet the people also.
Mm-hmm.
So in the upcoming weeks, you can see me on the ground in the Montu, in the Valley, in the Callis, in the Woburn, in the Springs, all over the South, meeting with our people, because, and again, that is me showing appreciation. And Terry, let me just say this, right? I mean, when the election results were called, our party got over 4,000 votes in the South.
Yeah.
The opposition got about 2,000 something votes. And when I saw the support that we got as a party, I was really, astonished, because you had us preaching a message of hope. You had the other side giving out money all over the place to shops and so. And I was very thankful to the people for supporting me, even though they had all other reasons to support someone else. So that is me just saying, listen, I am here for you. And I saw, when I was not involved in politics, I saw politicians not really going back to the people. So that is something that I always have in my head. Even though I'm working for the country, I have it in my head that, hey Andy, you have to be on the ground with the people. You have to be hearing their cries. Not everyone can come to you, but you have to go to them too. So in the next 4 months, I've dedicated that time to really make up for not really being there so much in the few months before. So you can be prepared. You will see me on the ground.
Great.
And listen, my philosophy is this. Right now, it is not about NMP or NDC. We should not be fighting. It should be about Grenada.
That's right.
And I just want to implore us to come together and let's see how we can build this country as a collective unit. This is what we have to do. Unity is strength. And anyone knows me knows that, listen, I am for the people. Right? We love to say poor and vulnerable. I don't believe in that. But if you come to me, I will try my best to see how I can assist in any and every way.
Right.
And that is just what I'm about when it comes to politics. As I said, I'm not a politician. I'm someone who is there for the people. And if it means that, I have to be in politics to reach out and to help, so be it.
Well, that's great. I am so impressed with your work that it overjoys me to know that I gave way to you during the campaign to be the candidate, to be the representative.
But let me just say, Terry, that, I know we had a competition some weeks ago, but I owe it to gentlemen like you and Ray Robertson, so because even, when I was campaigning, I heard people say, Andy, hey, I'm a Terry man. Because I'm telling you this, it's like there were a lot of Terry, because Terry had been here, there, and so on. It goes to show you that things that you can learn, right? I mean, in order for people to be loyal to you and to really believe in you, you have to show them that you also are loyal to them and you believe in them also. Yeah. So, as a young man in this politics, I have to say thank you for paving the way, and thank you for being there. I mean, I could tell you that anytime I reach out to you, you're always there.
Every time.
And I really appreciate that. And it shows maturity, and I'm happy to have you on this team. It means that I have a big brother that anytime I have an issue or a problem, I can always reach out to you.
Anytime.
And I know I will get the best advice.
Anytime. Anytime indeed.
Yes.
Anytime.
Yes.
So.
And I think the one of the uniqueness that we have together is that I was a supporter of the LNP. And here we are together, so we have something in common.
Absolutely.
Our eyes are open, and it will remain open.
Absolutely, we have a good thing going.
Yes.
And we have a great young leader who is very sharp. Very sharp.
Very sharp.
Full of vision, full of ideas.
Very sharp.
And all we can do is to continue giving him support and encouragement, and so that the entire team can move forward.
And let me just say that. Let me just end by saying that, it is a joy working with our Prime Minister. You know, and you know, I enjoy speaking to him. I respect him a lot, and I have to say that he is the reason why I'm involved in politics.
Right.
Because you know, just listening to him speaking and his vision, it showed me, Andy, you know, this is something good that you can be part of, and he inspired me to be in politics, and I trust his judgment. Sometimes I may not agree with something, but because you have the confidence in him, you know, and you just relax and look at it unfold. And so far, everything he's touched has been gold.
In other words, stay focused.
Stay focused.
Well,
Yes.
let us close on that note, and
Yes.
I want to thank you for being part of the Heartbeat today.
Yes.
Always a pleasure indeed.
Always.
Thank you so very much. And to thank all those of you who have been on WeFM, Vibes FM, Spice Capital Radio, Talk Grenada, and those of you who have been on the NDC Facebook platform. Thank you for being part of the Heartbeat today, and let's do it again next Sunday. And what we do promise you is that we'll be having more ministers coming on to talk about their overseas trips, their accomplishments, and what they had negotiated to benefit Grenada. So join us again next Sunday. We'll do it all over again.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.